Hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about the rise of populism, the dangers of populism, how we need a transformational political agenda in order to counter populism, and how the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, could be a roadmap for that agenda. Welcome to Development Unspun. So we all know about the rise of populism in recent years on both left and right. It seems like a new era of divisiveness, and division is the kind of common theme for populists, whatever side of the line they're on. They may differ on their policies, but their electoral playbook is the same. Divide the public and kind of condemn opponents. Most worryingly, the line between violent rhetoric and actual violence is very thin. I mean, it's not hard to see populism's appeal. And I've been attracted to populism before. We all want easy, better lives, and we're all uncertain about the future, perhaps more so today than ever. The financial crash in 2008 destroyed many people's trust in politicians, in economists. Add that to rapid technological change, and what is conceived as a migration crisis in many countries in the world, and you've got a kind of perfect storm in which populism can thrive. Populist leaders promise rapid change for those that want it, and a kind of return to a glorious past for those that don't. But while populists are rightly criticised for their simplistic solutions, the same kind of criticism could actually be laid at what I call small c conservatives, who've pretty much been running the show in many countries for the last 20 or 30 years. They have overseen in many countries increasing inequality, increasing threats to the natural world, and in fact laid the groundwork on which now populism can consolidate. Neither group, neither populists nor small c conservatives, have the answers that we need today. So who does? It's almost ironic, it's certainly surprising, that in this era characterised by so much divisiveness, there is in our hands a document that sets out a roadmap for a transformational politics. Sure, it's just a piece of paper that's been signed by a bunch of presidents in New York in a building surrounded by flags, but it's there nevertheless. It's authentic, and it's called Agenda 2030, and it's where you find the Sustainable Development Goals. Some of us are so used by now to the main tenets of the SDGs that we forget how important they are and how crucial they are to countering populism and small c conservatism. The SDGs do what populism and small c conservatism fail to do. They are holistic, not bitty. They are inclusive, not divisive. They are ambitious, not defeatist. They're based on evidence and not sound bites. They are internationalist and not nationalist, so they link up the struggle for equality and sustainability across all countries. They understand natural resource constraints and the importance of conserving the natural world. And they're grounded in human rights, which you could argue is the nearest thing we have to a global culture that really binds us all together, regardless of where we live and what leaders we happen to have. And that focus on evidence and data that is at the heart really of the SDG project might just have been a parenthesis in previous times, but today, when experts and evidence are being so denigrated and when the soundbite and fake news dominates, today deciding that evidence and data are going to be your centre point is a political statement. Science is with the SDGs, and that makes them at least somewhat more likely to prevail. Crucially, the SDGs go a long way beyond just principles. So one of the things that causes most despair for me, for many others, is just the gigantic size of the task of transformation that we have. And it's crucial just therefore to remember the simple steps that we need to take just to start along the road. And they're there in the SDGs. Anyone who thinks they have all the answers to the world's problems is just kidding themselves, and probably kidding quite a lot of other people as well. But we do have some of them. This is the time for cool heads and remembering the basics. While we keep working on what we don't know, let's at least implement what we do. Focus on women's rights, invest in clean energy, increase spending on public health and education, water and housing, reduce irresponsible consumption, act on threats to the climate, to forests, to oceans. These policy directions are now so well known they do sound almost glib, but we perhaps didn't realise 10 years ago how much threat these basic, simple tenets of good policy would be under. So the SDGs in 2019 are actually playing a role that their authors probably didn't anticipate. Not only are they a vision for a better world, they're actually a bulwark against the kind of rollback of scientific evidence, rollback of clarity on social policy that we're seeing in populism across the world. So having this roadmap matters. But, as any driver will know, a roadmap is only a small part of what you need to actually get to the destination, and it's probably the easy bit. Now we need the vehicles, the fuel, and the drivers. And that's where those of us engaged with the SDGs and with sustainable development need to step up our game, because although there's a lot of talk about transformation, too often I think people shy away from what it really means. There are too many parts of the international development ecosystem that still don't get it. Some seem to be clinging to the kind of comfort blanket that is MDG. Some seem to still be clinging to the kind of comfort blanket of the MDGs, the Millennium Development Goals. They were great for their time, but now anything that sets out to paper over the cracks or stick plasters on wounds, anything in short that resists the holistic and transformational policies we now need, is going to lose out to populism. Small c conservatism, rolling with inequality and unsustainability, is not an option. Populism is a wrong turning. The only option is transformation. So we have the SDGs, the perfect counter to populism, the beginnings of a transformational agenda, but they're still stuck on people's shelves. They're not being integrated into national policies. They're left with kind of foreign diplomats to discuss in New York, rather than being at the heart of policy decisions in capitals. Things are falling apart in many parts of the world, north and south, and how countries respond will define the rest of the 21st century. There's no point just rallying against populism. We have to rally for something better.